What's going on, guys? My name's Alan and welcome to another commentary. Today's video is going to be about this religious ceremony my school puts on every year for the seniors. I don't really want to say that they put it on so much as the church puts it on, because there didn't seem to be very much involvement with it. It was more or less the church putting it on, and that's probably where they get off thinking this is constitutional. But it's not. This is the very definition of unconstitutional. A public school that is funded by the state having to do with this. This being an official event. This is listed on their website, listed in their calendar. It's in the paper. The days leading up to it. It is an official event. That makes it unconstitutional. And I'm not sure if any money goes into it. There may be money going into it. They may pay the pastors to do this. They may, because there were teachers there too. They may pay the teachers to be there. They may or may not do that. But it being an official event makes it unconstitutional. But anyway, what it really was just a little church service for the seniors. It was the Sunday before we graduate, and tomorrow I'm gonna graduate. Just so you know, tomorrow the 7th I'll graduate from 7th of June. So anyway. I will show you why to mention that, but anyway, it's just a little church service, 45 minutes. You walk in, you sit down, and 45 minutes later, you get up and you walk out. There was no point in it. And I'm an atheist, so I don't believe in a God, but the tone before and after the event was that it was pointless too. Even Christians didn't think this had a point to it. And granted, you know, young people don't have the same kind of faith their parents would, but still, they're the ones sitting through it. It felt to me like it was pointless, and everybody felt that way too, apparently. But there was a few things that I kind of noticed about this event or the ceremony that they were kind of interesting, and how it was worded and such. First thing, there about towards the end of the ceremony, there's this guy who got up and he talked about you know, staying true to yourself. Don't let money change you. You know, I would say it's a good message. I don't see why. I can tell you, anybody could tell you that though. A teacher could tell you that. A doctor could tell you that. But since this is the Bible Belt, has to be a pastor to tell you that. But whatever. It's just him telling about don't let money change you. Always keep God in your heart. Or whatever, and he referenced Duck Dynasty. If you do not know what Duck Dynasty is, if you are fortunate enough to be under the rock on this one, you were very fortunate, by the way, because it is horrendous, the show. But in the show, this family, they're rich, and that's because this one of the brothers in this family, he invented I believe a duck call. And he made a lot of money off this duck call. So they're rich. And it's a reality show. It's not like a scripted event. Or I should say it's a scripted show. But it's just him talking. It's just this family, I mean. They're still the same old family that they've always been. Money didn't change them in any way. And that's what he's talking about. That's what the whole point of this was. And I was like, how do you know that money hasn't changed them? How do you know that it hasn't changed them in any way? You know, in the reality show or not, they're still actors in a way. They're still putting on a kind of an act a little bit. Because, you know, if it was just their life, chances are it's going to be pretty fucking boring. Rich or not, it's going to be kind of fucking boring. So they have to create drama. Just part of being a TV show. So how do you know that they haven't changed any? You don't. So please don't think that they haven't. And one thing he talked about, this was the last part of the message. He talked about how no matter how successful you are, if you do not have God in your heart, you are empty. Now, that was irritating for me, but again, I'm an atheist, so of course it's going to be irritating for me to hear that, but I kind of feel that this should be irritating for anybody. You know, out of all that you've accomplished, all that you've done, I mean, you may have had help from your family, your friends, from your teachers throughout your life, but you accomplished that. You did that. You should feel proud. You should feel proud of yourself about that. But no, if you didn't have God in your heart during it, fuck you. It's just you're empty. You didn't accomplish anything really. In reality, you didn't accomplish anything, and that's bullshit. I'm sorry, but that's bullshit. You know, I've always said people don't give themselves enough credit for this stuff like this. You know, if you get through high school, you get through college, which is much more of a challenge, by the way. But if you get through college, you accomplished something. You should feel proud of that. You should feel proud that you worked your ass off. You busted your ass to get this degree. This is something you wanted to do. You wanted to do it. You should feel proud of that. And you did that. No one else did that. You did that. That degree that has your name on it, that's something you did. And you should feel proud of it. So after that, we pretty much had another guy come up and talk to us. This next guy was a prayer, actually, so it was your normal bullshit. But anyway, after that, we got up and left. That was the end of it. But one thing I noticed before the event, we had a little practice the 30th of May. Last Thursday we had a practice for this ceremony, and before we started practicing, she had all the people who weren't going to attend this thing set in the back of the chapel. So she still made them go to practice. So of course when you do that, you start singling people out. Then you set them up for being ridiculed almost. And it wasn't as bad as I thought, because in class, when the sponsor, the senior sponsor had talked about this in class, she said that if you don't want to go to this thing on Sunday, you still have to go to practice. And I had no idea why she thought it would be a good idea for them to still go to practice. I mean, she didn't take roll or anything, so you could have skipped it, I guess. A lot of people did skip it, but I guess to keep an eye on us or whatever. I mean, we're seniors after all. You can't trust us. No, you can't. But she still had people who weren't going to go to the event itself, go to practice. And I thought in my head, like, oh, well, these people who don't go are going to be ridiculed. And they weren't as bad as I thought they were going to be. But during the practice, we were lining up because we had to get in alphabetical order. So we were all lined up. We were walking into the chapel. And this one kid, and this kid I'm talking, this student, this classmate of mine, I should say, he is the religious nut of the school, of the class. He is a religious nut. He's that stereotypical Jesus freak. So I'm sure we all know one. Even if you're Christian or not, I'm sure you all know one. But anyway, he was just looking through the glass, because his chapel had glass in the hallway before you get to the chapel. There was glass or whatever. He was looking through the glass, and all these kids that were sitting down who weren't going to the event. And he was like, "Wow, why are this many kids skipping that? Why are these many people not going to this? It should be important to them." And this one girl who is behind me, she's next to me or whatever. She says, "Who cares? Why are you bitching about it? Why are you complaining that these people aren't going to it? That's what they don't want to go to this. So why are you bitching about them not going?" Of course, then he shut up. But as I said, it wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. But it kind of got me thinking. I'm like, okay, see, I guarantee all the people who were skipping this, they probably weren't atheists. They were probably Christians. I could tell a few Catholics in there, people who had talked about before this that they were Catholic or whatever. This was held at a Methodist church, by the way. I should have mentioned that before that. It's a Methodist church. So they are. This is part of it here. This is part of why This is why church and state being separated is so important. Well, that's a very important foundation of any Western culture, or any Western society, I mean. Because even if you're not doing a completely different religion. Let's say this was like a synagogue or whatever. It doesn't matter. It's just as bad because you're singling out a sect of Christianity. So of course there's different sects, and I can tell you right now, living in the South, that these sects, Baptists don't get along with Methodists, Lutherans don't get along with Protestants, and vice versa, and etc., whatever. That's why you don't do that, because you're singling out one particular religion, and that's bad. That's what the Founding Fathers meant with the First Amendment. But, so yeah, I mean, seriously, these people who skipped this, who didn't go to it, they are not necessarily atheists. They're probably Christians who were either just their parents weren't happy that this was a Methodist church, or they just didn't want to go. They didn't care to go. Now, I imagine that a couple of these kids in there that were atheists, I imagine people who went to the event itself, besides me, were atheists. You know, the reason I went being an atheist, the reason I didn't throw such a fucking fit about going to this, because my parents cared about me. But there's something about my family thought it was important to me. Thought it was important to them, I should say. It wasn't important to me, obviously, but to them it was very important. So that's why I went. That's why I sit through this fucking thing, because I love my parents, I love my family, so of course I'm gonna go to this for them. If I had my way and they didn't care, I wouldn't go to this. So that's just that's my 2 cents on that little bit. So in closing, nothing really bad happened during the little church service, but I'm still very disgusted by it that this was allowed to happen, and this has happened, I believe, for 130 or so years. They had on the little program they had. This was the 130th or whatever event, or service or whatever. So I'm very disgusted that this happened, that this is allowed to happen. You know, I thought about contacting the ACLU about this, but I just couldn't do it. I could not bring myself to do it, because it would be very just detrimental to me. It would be bad, because my name going out there, you know, this would turn the community against me, and probably turn a lot more people against me than that, even. But yeah, I'd probably win. You know, would be a very easy case for the ACLU, but I just couldn't do it. I just could not do it. I'm a coward, I guess you could call me that, but I don't know. But in closing, again, not really a big deal, but it was still kind of it was disgusting in a sense still. And maybe you guys don't care. Maybe you just thought it was stupid of me to bitch about it. But hey, you watched the video, so whatever. So if you did watch the video all the way through, thanks for watching, and I will catch you guys later.